Headlines have been screaming about missiles and retaliation recently. Every headline sounds urgent. 66 attacks on US troops since October, dozens wounded. It sounds like a movie plot. Could this really ignite World War III?
The tension is real. Every day, more missiles fly and global powers move their pieces. The question on everyone's mind: how will it end? Stick around as we break down how this spark could become a wildfire.
It all started with a single explosion in the sky that shook Tehran and Tel Aviv alike. Late on June 14, Israel launched a surprise airstrike on what it said were Iranian nuclear facilities. Missiles streaked overhead, and sirens in Tehran had people ducking for cover.
Overnight, the tables turned. Iran fired back with missiles and drones at Tel Aviv, its leaders vowing a strong response.
I remember chatting with Avi, an Israeli friend who was at a bar when the strikes began. His phone buzzed with alerts. They're bombing Iran and our jets are out. He described watching tracer fires slice the night sky and hearing air defense sirens for the first time in his life. It felt unreal.
Across the world, tension grew into fear. In Tehran, I spoke with a shopkeeper who grabbed my arm. Everyone had been glued to TV. He said, "My children are running and hiding," and even he whispered, "This is serious." It hit home that this was beyond politics. It was personal.
So to recap, a surprise Israeli strike on Iran's facilities, followed by an Iranian barrage, lit the fuse on this crisis. Decades of simmering conflict suddenly boiled over in one night. That's the spark that set the Middle East on edge today.
No matter what, a single night of strikes lit a global fire. What started locally instantly grabbed the world's attention, and now many are bracing for a chain reaction. But the story didn't stop at Israel and Iran. The US soon leapt into action. Within hours, American fighter jets pounded an Iranian weapons depot in Syria in retaliation for recent attacks.
And last week, it got even closer to home. A ballistic missile slammed into the Al-Assad air base in Iraq, injuring 8 US troops. In response, an AK-130 gunship opened fire in self-defense on the militia that launched it. An Air Force officer said our reaction was immediate to stop any further threats.
The Pentagon has been clear. If American forces are attacked, we'll hit back at those responsible. Defense Secretary Austin warned that future attacks against our troops will be met with necessary measures. Meanwhile, warships and aircraft carriers have moved into the Gulf to deter more attacks.
Even US soldiers overseas are shaken. A Marine writing letters home mentioned sleepovers in bunkers and counting helmets. One joked on leave, "Better make sure Netflix is up to date. We might be here a while." But the grin didn't reach his eyes. Everyone knows what's at stake.
Around the globe, reaction has been swift. Russia publicly warned America not to expand this conflict. Turkey even said Iran has a right to defend itself against these attacks. In Washington, Congress members urged caution. One lawmaker tweeted, "This is not our war," echoing what many Americans feel.
In summary, every missile that's flown so far has led to an immediate response. Forces have struck Iranian-backed sites in Iraq and Syria, and global powers are now openly taking sides. The cycle is dangerous. Each step raises the stakes for the next.
Details on casualties from these airstrikes are murky. Some civilian areas were nearby, though US officials insist they targeted only militants. The lines of battle feel blurred and dangerous.
This isn't just politics. It's shaking ordinary people too. In Tehran markets, shoppers freeze when missile alerts flash on their phones. A friend said he saw families clutching each other, everyone worried about how it might hit them.
Meanwhile, in America, there's anxiety too. I chatted with an Iraqi-American vet who lost friends in Iraq. He said, "They want to send us back." After everything we've been through, he admitted he's checking the news every hour, afraid he'll be called back to service.
Even on social media, the tension is palpable. The hashtag #UAE has been trending, but people are using memes and humor to cope. One popular tweet joked, "Toxic trait, bake bread when anxious." Guess we're opening bakeries for WW3. It sounds silly, but those jokes are a lifeline right now.
A poll out this week shows most Americans don't want another war. Over half said our troops should stay home and favor diplomacy over fighting.
For many, this feels like déjà vu. Parents are rationing canned food and bread, the classic apocalypse prep, while others stock extra water or ammo. Even pets sense the tension. One neighbor said his dog is more anxious with all the sirens. Soldiers joke about helmets on sale. It's dark humor, but it highlights real fear.
To recap, everyday people everywhere are on edge. From anxious teens to rattled veterans, folks are turning to humor or prayer, or packing suitcases just in case. The consensus is clear.
So what happens now? Will this spiral out of control or calm down? One scenario is more escalation. If the US directly hits Iranian territory, it could draw other nations like Russia or even China into the fray.
The alternative is diplomacy. Many officials here are urging Congress to slow down and think twice before jumping in.
If things blow up, we could see multiple fronts. Hezbollah in Lebanon might attack Israel. Iranian forces could harass US ships, and drone strikes in Syria or Yemen could flare up. It would get very chaotic. One older gentleman even told me it feels like the Cuban Missile Crisis again.
But we've seen things diffuse before too. High-sounding threats often fade when diplomats get to work. Remember, many allies are pushing for calm. Europe is warning against a wider war.
In the end, the future is uncertain. For now, the best we can do is stay informed and cautious. If you're sharing news or talking online, stick to the facts. Personal attacks and wild rumors only fuel fear.
Exactly. Calm vigilance is key. Keep an eye on credible sources, support peaceful dialogue, and talk to each other about what's happening. Let's hope cooler heads prevail before things get worse.
That's our rundown on where things stand and where they might go. We know this is a lot to take in. If you found our discussion helpful, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with others.
Remember, staying informed is one way to take care of yourself right now. Keep calm and carry on.
Take care of each other and stay hopeful. We'll be here with updates.
We appreciate you listening in. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read everyone. Stay safe, stay informed, and thanks for joining us. Until next time,